Hi, my name's Hannah. I'm one of the team managers in Student Wellbeing, and I'm going to give you an overview of Student Wellbeing Service. We're going to look at three things briefly: an introduction to student services generally, an overview of the Student Wellbeing Service and how students can access support, and what we do with urgent concerns or support needs that are urgent. So first of all, we have student life, the first part of which is student advice. This really is just a front door for students. We've got two student service centres, one at Leslie Silver Building at City and one at Headingley Campus in Priestley. This is a place where students can go for any queries at all, and they'll be signposted in the right direction. Second is support report respect. So if you or someone you know is a student, a colleague or visitor to our university and has experienced bullying, harassment, sexual misconduct or sexual violence, you can let somebody know anonymously, or you can provide details and get some advice through this service. Access and inclusion. So first part of that is disability. It's imperative that we understand if students do have a disability, by which I mean a physical, emotional or cognitive disability that has lasted for 12 months or is likely to last for 12 months or more. It means that students can then access reasonable adjustments and also get access to anything like disabled student allowance, which is really important. Student Money also offer advice and guidance on what finances are available at LBU, mostly with regard to bursaries and hardship funds, but they also provide advice on student finance and some budgeting support too. Then the Student Wellbeing has four facets there: counselling, mental health, specialist mentoring, the school-based role, which I'll get into in more detail in a moment. So what does the overview look like and how do students access our support? First of all, they do a self-referral. It's an online 2-minute self-referral. That comes through to us in the morning, and we check that at 9 o'clock every day and assess risk. So is there risk that's attached to that referral form, by which I mean suicidal thoughts, self-harm, domestic abuse, or honour-based abuse? If that's the case, we will ring that student through our office cover function, which is essentially a trained practitioner who's on duty from 9 till 5 Monday to Thursday and 9 till 4:30 on a Friday. They will get back to that student and unpick what's going on for them in order to mitigate risk and safety plan with them. Once the student has put their self-referral in, they will be directed to book themselves an assessment. That assessment is an up to 50-minute appointment where they will work with a mental health practitioner, person who's doing the assessment with them, to work out what it is that best fits their need. That could be internal services like counselling, mental health or specialist mentoring, or it could be something external. So it could be something like a social prescribing service or referral back to a GP, or perhaps even into crisis support. You'll see there the school-based practitioner team up at the top right. I'll get back into that in a moment because it's slightly different from the central team. So what are the types of support you can expect from those things that I've just spoken about? So counselling is an up to 6 session model. It's a session by session model. It's about emotional exploration and understanding the origins of the distress that the student is coming with. All students will be able to access this if it's right for them, unless you are from the Leeds International Study Centre, in which case it'll be up to 4 session model. And if you're a student that's overseas or a student on a therapeutic counselling course at LBU, you won't be able to access it. The mental health team is a short, brief intervention model, so it's an up to 4 session model. This is really about risk management, mitigating risk. It's action or goal orientated, and it's about self-regulation, putting into practice strategies that are going to keep that student safe. It may also mean accessing external services, again, GP, hospital, crisis. Long-term mental health challenges and neurodiversity are managed through our specialist mentoring arm, and this is very much in collaboration with disability. In fact, it's about allowing students to be able to access disabled student allowance that I mentioned before. Then we've got the school-based practitioners. There's a school-based practitioner aligned to each school, and they have 3 strands of support. Number 1 is to coordinate support for students who, for whatever reason, don't feel that they can come through the central team. They may be presenting with certain complexities, or many other elements except for their mental health may be impacting on their study. Consultancy and advice for academics. So we know that academics' mental health is impacted by managing the mental health concerns of students, so to support them with that. And third of all is to do timetabled psychoeducation onto the curriculum. The whole point of the school-based practitioner broadly is to acknowledge that there is a link between social, emotional and physical health of students and their learning so that we can help support them before they get to a crisis. So where do our urgent concerns come from? So self-referrals in the morning, like I've just explained, when we do the assessment of those, the triage of those. The course teams, administrative teams, housemates, parents, internal or external services, often the police or our internal student accommodation. So that's where they're likely to come from. These urgent concerns are going to be managed through office cover, and it'll look like this. So the phone call or whatever it is, the email comes in, and our wellbeing officers have a look at this, have a discussion with our office cover practitioner about what needs to happen to determine whether or not it is urgent or not. If it is, we might go back to the original person to gather a little bit more information about the student and why that person is concerned about the student. Do they have consent for us to contact the student? And actually, is there a risk to the student? If there is, we will call the student and from there work out what is going on and make a short or longer term safety plan depending on what the issues are. It may then mean that that student's referred into our services, as I've mentioned, the specialist services that we've got, or they're referred externally. And then lastly, these crisis cards are what we give to students in order that they know how to look after themselves if they're particularly unwell or if they're not managing their well-being as well as they might. This QR code just means that all the services for out-of-hours support are available if you just scan that. And that is everything from me. Thank you so much.